Get right to our panel. Ari Melber is a correspondent for The Nation and an MSNBC contributor, and Ron Meyer is a conservative political strategist. Welcome to you both. Ron, you've just announced that you are considering a run for the House in Virginia. What is it about Washington that makes a young man who frankly isn't even old enough yet to take a seat in Congress, but will be if you run in 2014, what makes you want to do this?
Well, I think it's actually really basic. Washington is pushing a lot of the long-term problems and doing the short-term sort of pushing the deadline, making these manufactured deadlines, and pushing everything to the next generation, saying, you know what, young people, you're going to have to deal with this later when it comes to the debt, Social Security, Medicare. They're saying, you guys will have to take care of it. We're not going to put any long-term solutions.
So you're not satisfied with Paul Ryan's budget? That's not good enough for you?
Well, we can get into that, but generally in Washington, this is both parties, and this is especially during the Bush administration and especially even more during the Obama administration, pushing everything to future generations. I say if you're going to push everything to the future generations, I think it's time we stand up for ourselves and actually say, have someone in those future generations stand up and lead now. If you're going to push everything on us, punt all the problems to us, we're going to stand up and say, you know what, that's not right. It's not fair. It's not moral. The fact of the matter is that the interest payments on the debt alone are going to bankrupt us. And we're talking going from $250 billion a year, which we pay on interest now, to $1 trillion a year 10 years down the road. So where are we going to get that $750 billion?
So your solution is immediate austerity, cut everything?
No. You know, if we were actually to freeze government spending right now, we'd have a balanced budget in 4 years, according to CBO. So we're talking spending what we're spending this year.
So you support the Rand Paul approach, which would be to balance the budget miraculously in 5 years?
I don't think it's miraculous. I think we're not cutting anything. We're simply spending what we spend now, next year, and the year after that, and the year after that, and trying to put some long-term solutions in place that are bipartisan. Some of the stuff that's in Erskine Bowles, some of the stuff that Bill Clinton's people put in place with welfare reform. The fact is the Obama administration has actually unwound a lot of the Clinton policies that actually give power to the states to actually make decisions when it comes to welfare programs. And if we undo all these solutions that save us money and actually empower people, give people the right to rise instead of keeping them in poverty like they are right now,
okay.
I think that's a good
Ari,
message.
Ron's position is to balance the budget in 4 years, so that's 1 year shorter than Rand Paul promises. What would that do to the economy?
I think that you cannot get these kind of cuts without taking...
Cuts? I'm talking about...
Well, hold on. I know you're a young politician, and I like young politicians more than old politicians. But whatever you are, you got to wait, because I let you go, right? So let's do that. I think the answer is that if you look at taking a big bite out of the jobs in the public sector and taking away the spending that goes throughout the entire economy, that hurts growth. That's the biggest problem. I think an issue for you is I think it's great to have someone who's 23 out there running. I think that is great in both parties. We have way too many senior citizens making decisions for the rest of us. So I'm with that. The question I have for you is, if you're going to go in your district, Prince William County is one of the biggest counties where most of the people live.
70,000 federal workers. No,
you know where I'm going, and I think that's the debate to have.
Yes.
What's the largest employer in Prince William County?
70,000 people. 1 out of every 10 people in my district works for the federal government.
Right. So you're going to run, and this is the question, you're going to run and tell those people that you're going to take away their jobs. How does that work?
It's a really simple message. So $250 billion a year on interest payments now. A trillion payments. All right, so where are we going to get the $750
billion? Let's go to your constituency.
Hold on.
Let's go to your constituency.
So we have $750 billion we're going to add to the budget deficit in 10 years. Where are we going to get that money? Either through massive tax hikes or, more likely, massive government cuts. If we have an unsustainable government right now, and we get to a point where the interest payments are pushing it, we're constitutionally obligated to pay for the debt every year. We're not constitutionally obligated to pay salaries and pensions. And when we get to a point where the spending now, we're on a pace of spending, where we're going to have to all of a sudden have these dramatic cuts, where's it going to hurt? My district, Northern Virginia, we're going to have to fire government workers that work in vital sectors of the economy.
Here's a question then, which I'd like to put to both of you, but starting with you, Ron. Hasn't this experiment of austerity been tried in Europe already?
They've raised taxes and they've cut spending.
Let's just go to the austerity. So at the moment, the IMF says that the European economy will contract over the next year by 0.2%. The same organisation says the American economy will grow by 2%, not massive. In the Eurozone, the recession is going to last for another 18 months. Unemployment in Spain, 26%. Unemployment in Italy, 37% for youth. Britain is in a triple recession. Britain's pound is at its lowest rate in 3 years. Now, those nations, that whole continent, have tried exactly what you've just proposed, and they are stuck in
Where are they starting from, though? You remember, I mean, most of these European countries, they have 50% tax rates, so they're already starting at a point where they're going to have a hard time recovering.
They don't have 50% tax rate.
A lot of them do. Well, France has 75%.
Yeah, but that's only just been raised, as you know. Britain's highest flat
pretty high.
Right, it's 40%. So let's just get the fact. Yeah, but
and if you're talking local taxes included,
what I'm trying to put to you, really, Ron, is the idea of slashing the budget and balancing the budget in the way that you propose and the way that Rand Paul did this week and the way that Paul Ryan does.
I just don't understand
all of the best economists in the world are telling us that all that would do is force us back into a recession.
So I don't understand. Remember, when the government spends a dollar, it has to take it from the private sector, whether it's through the Federal Reserve or whether it's through taxes. So you're taking money out. Actually, my girlfriend Celia Bigelow had a great article on this, that actually if you look at our deficit of $1 trillion, how many jobs does that equal? Average paying jobs. It equals over 100,000 jobs that we're taking out of the economy and actually spending in the deficits. So if you, I mean, it's this whole idea, this liberal multiplier effect, that government spending is always good for the economy. You have to remember, where does the money come from? It comes out of our pocketbooks. It comes from people's private property. It comes from somebody's, you're taking someone's phone, you're taking someone's piece of their car. You're taking real property to actually pay for government spending. So it comes from somewhere.
Okay, great. Ari,
I want some of his coffee.
You do?
I think you have a lot of energy.
I'll show you the rest.
Maybe something that he's been smoking as well.
The problem is, if we peel back the energy and the excitement, which I think is great, again, for the system, and you were part of saying fire Boehner because you wanted something more extreme. The Republican Party right now...
I was balancing the
hold on, man.
Please allow
Come on. Let's go back and forth.
I got you.
The Republican Party right now has John Boehner up there and Rand Paul and Paul Ryan trying to cut government to the bone. And then to their right, they have people like you who have a lot of energy but have the wrong ideas. The problem is, we never heard in this presentation what was going to happen to those people who lost their jobs, the people that fill the district that you're running for. You have a campaign left. You'll have to go out there and speak directly with them. But these people cannot be disappeared. And it reminds me in a certain way of the Republicans' problem with gay Americans who want the same rights. If they're not in your family, you don't get those rights. If we can't see these people's jobs and you don't care about those jobs, and all you seem to talk about and your party is talking about is White House tours and the federal spending, and we're not seeing the real people. And the problem is that's what we see at CPAC, that's what we see in the conservative media, and out in the country people are getting very frustrated with that. You have to find a way, this is my advice to you, you have to find a way to talk to those people, to not disappear them from the conversation.
Ari Melber and Ron Meyer, I wish we had more time, but it's been great to have you here.
Thanks,
Do come back. Thank you both, and of course we wish you all the best if you do choose to run.